Hey guys, what's going on? So in today's video, I'm going to be conditioning this very rare leather. This is Mariam Tannery. It's called Ruggine Horserump. Ruggine is the Italian word for rust. And as you can see, they've got a gorgeous red color. And I wore these just the other day and I posted them, and Truman reached out to me. They're like, hey man, you might want to condition those. They're looking a little dry. And I do concur. Now, my hesitation with conditioning Horserump from the Mariam Tannery has always been the one catastrophe that my color 85 Horserump boots suffered. I'll leave the link to that video below. Because Mariam uses a lot of natural dyeing methods, and this is a vegetable tan, so they're trying to be gentle on the environment. But the trade-off with that, and there's always a trade-off, is that the leather seems to lose its pigment fairly easily, and it seems to dry out pretty quickly as well. And so today, for this video, I decided that yes, I'm going to condition them. I'm going to get over my hesitation with conditioning my boots, and I'm going to condition these with Saphir Renovateur. I really like the smell of this stuff. As you can see, it's got like a nice gooey consistency. Yeah, I would have used Bic 4. I used Bic 4 on my navy Horserump Truman Boots, but you know what happened was it dulled out real quick. So the Bic 4 is very much a superficial conditioner. It's not going to get in real deep. And because this color is sort of turning into a lighter red, I kind of want to saturate it a little bit more, bring out that red, bring out that vibrant ruby red. So that's why I decided to go ahead. This stuff is so well reputed and I haven't used it nearly enough, so I'm just gonna give this a nice generous coat, making sure it all absorbs. Yeah, there's just certain areas of this hide that, or of the boot, that really do look dry. Now, all Mariam Tannery horse butt has done that in my experience. I've got 4 pair of Truman boots on Mariam horse butt. So I got the navy, the color 85, the Ruggine, and the Tuscanello. The Tuscanello are just an awesome pair. I've still not done anything to the Tuscanello, and because of the really cool brown color that it has going on, I think it's just going to look better not conditioned. But I think for the purposes of this boot, because this is an unusual color, I think it's more appropriate to sort of keep it saturated, keep it well nourished, well saturated, not be afraid to condition. You know, again, I did have that negative experience with my green color 85 Horserump. It's always a learning process. I do kind of wish that, this might be impractical, but I do kind of wish that like boot makers would just send a sample of the leather along with the boots so that you can like test different stuff on it. I realize that might be a little impractical though. Yeah, I really like that color, that deep ruby red color, as opposed to sort of this stale. You know, it's funny, when I look at this color, for some reason it reminds me of like a candy cane color, like a cheap looking, you know, while it's unconditioned, it kind of looks like a cheap candy, whereas this looks really good. It's really pulling out, you know. And this is a neutral, this Saphir is neutral, so I'm not adding pigments, I'm just enhancing pigments that are already there. That's the thing to realize. Always got to get the tongue. But yeah, the Tuscanello Horserump, I just wore those recently as well. I'll include a picture. Yeah, that's a pair that's going to just look better without conditioner. I don't think I'll ever condition those, just because I like the appearance. For these, however, the appearance just looking kind of dull, kind of ratty. The leather's expression, in my opinion, has to be taken into consideration. Some leathers express themselves in a more rugged way. This just is not one of those, I don't think. So, oh yeah, look at all that. That's crazy. Now, I would be doing this outside to get better lighting. However, the problem with that is it's cold outside. And when it's cold, the waxes and the conditioners in the Saphir are not going to penetrate at all. They'll be much more likely to just kind of sit on the surface. And for that reason, I decided to just bring it inside and do it inside. That way I could talk too. When it's outside, the wind's whipping, I can't really talk. People always complain about the music that I put into my visual videos. I do love my synthwave. My dark synth. Oh yeah, there's a good spot. Yeah, I'm really happy with how this is turning out. And yeah, Saphir just has such a... Oh, I can't even describe the smell. It's just so good though. You could tell there's a heritage to it. There's a tradition to it. It's like the peak of that, of like the French, British shoemaking tradition. You could tell that this is a result of that. So yeah, I reached out to Truman and I asked, hey, what would you recommend, Venetian or Saphir on this? And they actually have their own boot conditioner, their own leather conditioner. I don't have any of that yet, so I'll have to pick some up. But before they had that, they used to recommend Saphir, Renovateur, or VSC, Venetian Leather Balm. Now, I have a lot of VSC. You know what's crazy about that stuff is I like it. I really love it. It's really waxy. Really brings out, really restores chromic cell and shell cordovan. But when you don't use it for a while, it sort of starts to clump up in the bottle. And you kind of need to rewarm it with your body heat, shake it up a lot. That's one thing that kind of puts me off about it, is the clumpiness. But this stuff, I use this Saphir Renovator on a pair of my Antonio Maurizi. They're like a European dress wingtip boots, and they always look kind of chalky. But then when I applied the Saphir, it's like just the perfect luxurious conditioner. It really soaks in deep and really conditions well. I think it's gonna get a little deeper than probably Venetian. I love Venetian, don't get me wrong, but this stuff is like serious. It's like the meeting ground of luxury and function. I think it really does a nice job. So, but yeah, as you can see, considerably darker. But I like it. I think it was definitely time. So, and in them I had these, I just put in these laces. These are called double chocolate, I believe, from Guarded Goods. It's a very thick brown lace. Like, I could barely get them through the eyelets, but I just reached out to Jesse at Guarded Goods. I was like, what were these called? He's like, they're chocolate. I'm like, that's right, double chocolate. I love those. So, and then, yeah, I'm probably gonna get in here with a Q-tip as well and get the creases. You really want to get in close to the welt. That's one of the most important areas that you can't get with your fingers. So I'm just gonna dip it, and I'm gonna get in there. Oh wow, yeah. See what I'm talking about with the pigment? See how the red has come out already on this Q-tip? That's what I'm talking about with Mariam stuff. Is you know, it's great from a ecological perspective. It's an all natural tanning method, but you see that pigment's coming out. That dye is coming out. So that's what happened with my Color 85 as well. Like, see, I don't want to dip that in there because that's got... There's always a trade-off. There's no perfect method. There's no perfect leather. And the art is really just in doing things in such a way that you'll best experience the boot, not anybody else, because these are your boots. You decide what you do with them. There is no 100% correct practice. Oh, and this is, I think this is called I forget what this is called, a blind cap toe. but essentially it's not a traditional Truman cap toe. It's sort of folded in over on itself. And oh wow, look at all that pigment came off. Yeah, so on my color 85 Horserump, what I ended up doing was I ended up re-dyeing them into more of a green. Wow, a lot of red came off. I am overall happy with the result. Now for the next one. Yeah, a lot of dry patches on here too. See how quickly that soaks up. That's just a little extra residue I had on my fingers, and it just immediately soaks into the leather. I'm hoping that the waxes and the oils will protect the surface and prevent bleed out of those pigments. Yeah, that's one thing about this Mariam Horserump. First, it starts out with a real nice glaze sheen kind of an appearance, but almost immediately, as soon as you start wearing them, it loses that, and it becomes more of a matte appearance. You know, one thing I'll talk about in terms of application. So one thing that I notice is a lot of people, they'll take a rag or something to apply conditioner. I don't like that. For some reason, I've never liked that. First off, the rag is going to soak up. So you're wasting conditioner because the rag is soaking up a lot of the conditioner. And so you got to make sure to keep... The rag is going to absorb a lot of the conditioner, and if it's expensive, well, that's not good. The Saphir Renovateur, I think this is $30, so it's expensive. It's not cheap, you know. But I'm not going to use anything else on nice leather like this. The other reason why I like to use my fingers is because I like to know, you know, because what this stuff is doing to your skin is what it's doing to your leather. And so if it's damaging your skin, if it's drying it out or burning it in some way, that's important to know, because that's what will be happening to your leather as well. So like Venetian leather balm, I notice after I use it, I do feel like sort of like a very dried out, almost burnt sensation on my skin. And so for that reason, it's like, okay, it is helping to preserve the leather long term, prevent rot if that's the case. Because if it's somewhat of a harsh substance in there, what that's going to do is it's going to be antibacterial. It's not going to be friendly to microbes and things like that. But at the same time, you also have to recognize that there's always a trade-off with leather. And so while Venetian will nourish the leather, it's also doing a little something, probably. Now, I'm not an expert. I don't know this for sure, but probably it's doing something to... If it's damaging your skin, it's probably doing something to damage the leather. Now, if that's in any meaningful or impactful way, I don't know. But that's just my observation. Like it kind of feels like it burns my skin just a little bit. And so if that's the case, it's probably doing the same thing to the leather. So again, that may or may not be in a way that will damage it. That may or may not be in a way that's going to inhibit its longevity. But the thing to keep in mind is this leather has been so, like most all leather, the tanning process is very involved, very time intensive, and it's designed to essentially, in a way, mummify the leather, you know, to preserve it long term. Because leather is just skin, and these tanners have developed incredible methods for ensuring the longevity of their product. I guess what I'm getting at is, like, I think most guys tend to overdo it on the conditioner, and so in an effort to not overdo it, I think to a certain degree I've underdone conditioning. And there's always a trade-off, like I've said. But the good news is if you don't condition, then you never have to wonder what they would have looked like if you didn't condition them. But then sometimes if you do condition them, you know, I've been disappointed before. You really just got to know what you're getting yourself into when you're doing this. Why it's necessary, what purpose it's fulfilling. Well, I think that looks pretty good. I'm gonna let that set for a while, and then I'll get some outside shots of the final product. But I think these look good, conditioned up and shined and with a waxy finish on the surface. I think that's their best expression. Almost time to start buffing, but not quite yet. Yeah, I'll buff once it's completely dried, completely soaked in. And I'm gonna make sure that I didn't miss any spots, like I already see one. Alright, so I talked about my other Mariam Horserump Truman Boots, and so these are my navy Horserump Truman Boots that I conditioned with Bic 4. And as you can see, I conditioned them, and the Bic 4 is known for not darkening finished leather, and I will say it did not darken it at all. But the thing that I notice is that they almost immediately return to their matte appearance, their sort of dull appearance. So these would be a good candidate for the Saphir Renovateur next. I think I might do that next. These Mariam Tannery Tuscanello Horserump Boots, Truman Boots, have not been conditioned with anything, and I'm not going to put any conditioner on them at all. I really like how they look right now. These look proper as a rugged boot. And then these are the color 85s I was talking about. The color 85 was much more of a lighter sort of lime green, and like I said, when I applied the conditioner to them, I didn't like how it looked, and then I washed it out, and it stripped so much of the pigments out of the leather, and so I just re-dyed them to a green color using Saphir products, and I do like how they turned out. I think that they restored pretty nicely. That was a lesson learned there. So, anyways, guys, I'm pretty happy with how these Ruggine Horserumps turned out. Please leave me your thoughts in the comments below. I really like how they're looking now. They look so much better, so much more saturated, so much more supple. Please let me know any success or failures that you've had with Saphir Renovateur. I think that this was the right stuff, or Venetian would have also done a similar job, maybe just a little bit more surface. I think the Venetian does a good job at getting the surface. I don't think it really penetrates as deep, though, as compared to the Renovateur. I think the Renovateur really gets in, nourishes the leather for the long haul, so that's good. And that would explain maybe the price difference. So the Saphir Renovateur is, I think, a little bit more expensive than the Venetian leather balm. So anyways, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Leave me your thoughts in the comments below, and I will see y'all in my next video.